Welcome to the Trying to Be Better podcast with Joel and Steve.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Trying to Be Better podcast with Joel and Steve. I'm Joel.
I'm Steve.
And I'm a little laggy.
He's a little laggy. Talk to the picture.
Dude, I just came in hot from a bike ride, and yeah, so I'm feeling it. My dog is very concerned about the lack of normal scheduling. Everything's going great.
Everything's going great.
I'm going to sit down in my zero gravity chair
and
have a podcast.
And have a nice little podcast.
Yeah.
Well, I went and met with I think you know her, Jen Leonard. I think.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm going to do some sound / breath work with her.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, what is that? Just like kind of one-on-one sessions there?
Yep. Mm-hmm. At least to start. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's cool. I met her actually at the Porch Fest thing a couple weeks ago. Was that 2 weeks ago? Last week? Whatever. Porch Fest was great. And we just happened to be sitting next to each other outside of when the Bottle Tops were playing and some other folks. And we just started talking and we realized that we're friends, whatever, Instagram follower people, whatever you call that. Is that friends? What do you call that on Instagram?
Friends? Are those friends? Yeah. Are you a friend? I think it's followers.
It's followers, yeah. So we were mutual following, yes. If you're not a friend, you're one of them.
If you're not a friend, you're a follower.
Well, sure. Or which is, really, really perilously close to stalking.
Isn't that all social media really is?
Pretty much, yeah, especially Instagram.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool, man. So when she describes breath work, what does that mean?
I said breath work. That just kind of came out. It's more the sound piece. So
sound healing, like bowls, gongs,
the whole thing. Yep. Mm-hmm. Bowls, gongs, drums,
rain. What is it? Rain sticks.
That was not mentioned. I don't know if that's part of the contract or not. Although I do like a good rain stick, so maybe I'll see if I can get that in on the rider.
I know that there's a local healer and practitioner and sound musician healer, Jen Beckwar, who runs Blue Bindu, I believe that's her deal. Shout out to Blue Bindu. Kirsten and I periodically, maybe twice a year, 3 times a year, especially around like the winter solstice, we try to book one. She solo or she and a comrade do sound healing and yoga nidra stuff, and it's amazing. I'm glad you're checking that out because I feel like your affinity and respect and love of like drums and space, I think that you will really appreciate the healing properties of that sort of acoustical medicine.
Yes. Well, I have been an informal practitioner of that healing for a long time now.
Right. Exactly.
In a slightly different context.
Sure.
So, which is really interesting that you mentioned that because I mentioned, and I don't know if I talked about it on here or not, but I went to a deep listening thing at the Benson Theater in Omaha a couple weeks ago.
Tell me about that.
By the way, everybody, Joel and I we feel slightly remiss in not putting up a podcast.
Don't put feelings in my heart, Steve. I feel fine about it.
Okay, well, I feel slightly remiss.
I feel great.
You feel great. But I do. Mostly what I feel, it's not that I feel remiss, it's that I feel slightly afraid they're going to lose market share because we haven't put up a pod in 3 weeks, that people are going to forget about us and move on to other things like true crime podcasts or whatever the hell people listen to.
Oh, absolutely. They've already done that. if we wanted to tap into that market share, we would
We're
just be looking up murder stories and joking about them.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's another thing, maybe. Anyway, maybe that'd bump our numbers up if we did that.
Oh, it totally would. I listened to a 3 hour podcast, small town murders about. I just looked for all the small town murders in Nebraska in
Yeah.
that podcast, and there was one about Ord that kind of
Oh,
overlapped
we
with my.
we listened to that. Didn't we
No,
listen to that? No.
not the one about Ord. We listened to
Oh,
one about um I don't know. There was one in like Scotts Bluff and one in like
well, then
Kearney.
we listened to the Aubrey Trail one.
Yeah, and then
Fuck that
yeah,
guy.
wow.
Hmm.
What a journey that was.
No shit.
Anyway, if we were going to tap into that market, we would have done that a long time ago, but
So, right. So
I don't even know
turn-
where I don't know where I don't know where the pin is at this point.
the pin is on deep listening.
Deep
And
listening.
yes, and it turns out I was not aware. I thought that was like the name of a show, but it's actually the name of a thing.
Yeah, tell us more about deep listening
So
because
deep listening is far out.
I probably could use a bit of I could use some practice in deep listening.
Well, and so that's okay. So I'm really glad that you said that. So and I'm gonna get all of this just so wrong, but so deep listening is one moment. It is a it's not exactly a certification. There's a center for deep listening, and it was started by Pauline Oliveros, who was a musician person. And I'm butchering all of this.
You're doing great.
Deep listening explores the difference between the involuntary nature of hearing and the conscious nature of listening.
Okay.
The practice includes body work, sonic meditations, and interactive performance, which I experienced, as well as listening to the sounds of daily life, nature, one's own thoughts, imagination, and dreams. So tell me that's not interesting.
So the exploring the boundary between involuntary hearing and
Mhm.
conscious listening.
Mhm.
So what
Yes.
did you experience at this deep listening
Well,
soiree?
okay, so that, and it's kind of funny. This is I was talking. So through that, I met one of the performers who's at this event, whose name is Stacy Bareilles, and she's an Omaha person, but I mean, she said I have too many letters after my name, which is kind of funny. Um, but she's a pianist and a composer and a artist and teaches kind of, I get the impression, kind of traditional music, piano,
Mhm.
scholarly things
Sure.
for, but she performed at this deep listening event, and I sent you guys some video of our the audience interactive things.
Yeah.
One of them was a piece called "The Piano is Stressing Me Out,"
Yeah.
and which is just really funny. And so the deal with that was she handed out these cards to the audience, and each card had a role on it. My role was wind. There was also dogs, maybe cats, rain, and a couple other things, maybe. And
Mhm.
so our job was to make those sounds while she performed.
Mhm.
And the instruction was as the piano got louder and more dissonant, so were we to do so.
Oh, okay.
So the
So
piano starts off kind of serene and nice and pretty, and I'm just making wind sounds with my voice, which is more difficult than you would think. Because what was coming out of my mouth did not necessarily, it sounded more like ghosts to me. You know,
yeah,
uh,
but you know, there's ghosts in the wind, right?
yeah, yeah, there's ghosts in the machine. And and then the piano would get louder and then more dissonant. And so the audience would get louder and more dissonant. And it
Mhm.
really got to this kind of fever pitch, right?
Right.
And then she brought it back down. And then the wind was the last thing to die off. And
Hmm.
so then it was just after all that, after like the storm, was just wind.
Hmm.
And that took about 15 minutes. There were also performers that did, um, and I'm forgetting their name, so I'm not going to try to look it up, but they're out of Omaha, and they did just kind of more what I would call, they may not, I hope they don't take any offense to this term cosmically, but more traditional, like ethereal kind of sounds made with synthesizers and
Ambient. What?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They also had some Tibetan singing bowls that they were running through some processors.
Hmm.
And frankly, I expected more. With the amount of equipment on stage and the bowls and shit. I
Oh,
mean, it was ambient, and
ambient
ambient, whatever, ambient.
ambiance.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Ambien.
Ambient.
Good night.
Ambient. You can smoke it through a foilie.
I don't know, can you? Anyway,
Dude, I think you could try to like, you could probably smoke about anything if you really tried hard enough.
well, as a teenager, I did. We just didn't have that then. Anyway, and I'm being a little facetious, but like for the amount, I mean, again, then this is the funny thing. And so this is the fine line that I'm trying to like divine is like compared to Mickey Hart and Drums in Space, it was fucking boring
But
to me.
I experienced, I think, and I guess I'm maybe talking out of school, but I experienced some of that stuff in grad school. Some of the music students in at my grad school would put on sort of, recitals like that, and it was kind of strange and weird and very
Yeah.
ambient,
Mm-hmm.
and very dissonant and arrhythmic
Mm-hmm.
and loose and John Cagey, right?
Yeah.
So, it is boring, but is like I would say I think what Mickey Hart's trying to do is trying to like tap into the rhythm of the cosmos, where these folks are trying to like uh allow you to that you meet your boring, and then can you stay with that? Can you
Yeah.
have the attention to experience what we're trying to do? And it's not, and I mean that could be really fucking like, what's the word? There's a word for that. Pompous, I guess. That could be
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
like
Pompous and precious.
you precious, and like I'm trying to test your patience, and if you have a problem with that, that's on you. I think
Yeah.
some of that's true. Like
Yeah.
you're kind of signing up for that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, to
it's
me,
like,
like, and this is where I'm getting an education is like walking into like deep listening. Like I had an expectation of it being interesting, right? Like if I'm going to be listening deeply, I'd like there to be something going on, right?
yeah, I
So,
guess.
okay. So anyway, appreciated, right? Like you know, I'm being a little facetious, but also not. And because I like to have my ass kicked by music, right?
Right.
Yes. And this was not kicking my ass. This was like, okay, I guess this is still going on.
But what is the point to like like train that part of you that wants to get your ass rammed or
I
ass kicked by
thank you,
music?
Joel. Thank you for the correction. But so okay, so let me finish. So there was this, and then there was a Stacy did her thing, which was more interactive and
Mhm.
yeah, that I mean that I was like I was 100% locked into that. Like this is really amazing. Like what an incredibly special thing, right?
Mhm.
And then there was a guy from Mexico, I think, that played. He had a drum set, and a computer and some, percussion pads and loops and shit. And his thing was pretty cool. It was pretty dynamic and had multiple elements to it. And he played, acoustic drums along with his kind of preset things that were
Yeah.
also, I could tell, like he was hitting samples and things. So it was a little dynamic, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There was definitely preset sounds, but he was using them live, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then a woman performed. Her stage name was Weathering,
Hmm.
and her thing was intense. Like it was amazing to me, which is it started off with just kind of the ambient drone ethereal thing. And that was it had many different colors and timbres and was kind of shifting through various spaces. And it was, so I'm like, okay, I'm here for this. And I think also it helped that I had been prepped a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You were
My,
primed.
my palate had been cleansed. I was, and
You had your colonic.
I had my colonic, and I went back for another one, but they wouldn't let me. Um, and then,
I'm feeling randy today. I'm sorry. I'm just feeling really
no, I love this. It's great. I'm here for it. And then the beginning of Dark Side of the Moon, where it's like that heartbeat pulse.
Mhm.
There was that something like that, but it wasn't as steady as a heartbeat. It was a little off-putting, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
where your brain expects to hear the heartbeat, bump, bump,
Right.
bump, bump. But that was not. It was more. It was like bump.
All right. My dog is about to catch a squirrel. Oh.
Oh
That
boy.
was it was a Wild Kingdom moment because this squirrel got trapped.
Oh boy.
And my dog almost caught the squirrel, and I've been fascinated to know what she would do with it.
Uh-huh.
But also, I was what flashed before my eyes was like $300 at the vet today. Yeah, to get another rabies shot.
Right. Good
Squirrel
times.
escaped. I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
Another little trip to the emergency vet.
Well, I've got to go to Costco today to get new tires, so nothing can get in the way of that.
Gotta go to Costco to get new tires. Listen to yourself, man. Listen to yourself. What has happened to us? Good God, I'm disgusted.
So anyway, I totally interrupted your deal.
I'm also really excited for your new tires. So,
well,
big day.
I have a flat, and my experience with all-wheel drive vehicles
you get all 4 new tires.
There's never like we'll fix it. Everything's fine. Your tread's fine.
No,
you don't. Every time it's like, we got to do them all.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, I totally interrupted.
So the heart, so the not heartbeat starts happening, and it was just enough that I noticed it. Right. Yeah. That's a new thing. It's a new element to this soup.
Yeah.
And then that gradually became, over the course of, I would say, 5 minutes, became all encompassing and omnipresent. It didn't change except for it got louder and more up front in the mix. All the ambient stuff was still happening, but it just kept getting louder and louder and louder and louder to the point of almost being uncomfortable. And then everything just stopped. Blank space.
Oh, wow.
And she said, "Thank you." And I was like,
"Thank you."
That was, it was amazing. It was really awesome. And so anyway, that was all very interesting. So that got me thinking about deep listening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm here for it. And so, I was hanging out with my friend Jay Kramer, who was like, "Well, Stacy gives lessons because they work together sometimes." I'm like, "Really?" Yeah, or just lessons, like composing whatever your lesson desire is,
Yeah.
And so I met with her yesterday over Zoom, and just kind of told her, I said, "Look, I feel like I'm almost talking to a therapist." But she does a lot, like you want to learn about composing, you want to learn about theory, you want to learn about actual technique, like what's your pleasure, right?
Yeah.
And so I just told her, I'm like, "Look, here's the deal. I've suddenly, at the age of 53, find myself with more discretionary time than I'm used to.
Yeah.
And I'm really trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up." And I'm trying to figure out who the fuck am I for the next 20 years, and I really kind of talked about, I'm an IT guy. I play Rolling Stones music. I've dipped my toes into bluegrass, but what's really kind of tripping my trigger, both innately and just recently, is this deep listening business.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her that, and this is true, that I've heard in my head what she was doing with The Piano Stresses Me Out my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Like that to me is music. And when I would, when I was a kid, I would do stuff like that on the piano, but that wasn't music, you see. Dude, that was just making noise. That was just being silly or whatever. And it turns out it's actually, it's not exactly gonna be, top of the pops, whatever, but like it is music.
I can recall. I mean, I remember, yeah, I think it's cool you said that and you were able to express that because I recall, my mom had a piano and we had a piano in the house for a while and I took piano lessons
Yes.
and I would learn things and it was like really cool to be like, oh, it was like basically the same situation I had with the guitar was once I had like, 5 or 6 lessons, I felt like I had permission to play it. And then the
Yes.
thing I wanted to play were not we're just like I wanted to hold down the sustain pedal and
Yes.
just like play little like just kind of trip out on it
Yes.
at a very
100%.
young age. Like I totally I totally agree and I've had similar experience. It's cool you're able to express that to her and also say I want to do that now and
Like only actually with intention.
with intention. Yeah.
Hmm. And she said, "Great, that's great." You know,
Yeah.
so because she's a whatever certified deep learning teacher person,
Yeah.
and so I think that's something that I'm gonna investigate a little bit and work with her. Like I will probably spend some time. She lives in Omaha.
Hmm.
And so like she sent me a couple screenshots of Pauline Oliveros' books with like
Hmm.
exercises in it. So here's an exercise called Any Piece of Music.
Hmm.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so it says everyone answers the following questions in as many ways as possible. There's two questions. One, if you could write any piece of music, what would you write? Assume that no kind of restraint exists, i.e., time, money, existence of resources or technology, etc.
Mm.
If you could write any piece of music, what would you write? And the second question is, how would you achieve it?
Mm.
Right? Like that's
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah.
Like, oh boy, I guess we're just jumping right into the deep end, aren't we?
That's so, but like, what's cool about that is that it's a maybe an academic or more intelligent or intentional way to get a grown ass adult to go back to a childlike sense of wonder in creation.
Yes. Yes. And that's really hard.
That's super fucking hard. Like, so I relate to that journey with you, and I'm interested to be alongside you in that journey, and I like because I a couple weeks ago and I'm waiting to hear back. I'll probably hear back this week. I submitted a proposal for a sabbatical to
Yes.
write a play.
Yes.
And those two I'm going to write those questions. And I hopefully my administrators don't hear this. I'll probably write the play whether you give me sabbatical or not. It'd be really nice to have a sabbatical. But but
I
I,
really hope the people I
they're like,
report to
"Oh,
don't hear this.
yeah, I heard your podcast. We're not going to grant you sabbatical because you can do that anyway." But that's the kind of free creation I want to have is like if you could write any play no matter what not thinking about resources or restrictions or anything and
Yeah.
then go do that. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
giving yourself permission to create something new in the world and also be free of judgment from it.
Yes. Isn't that yes? And that's kind of amazing and also a little bit daunting.
It's terrifying because it's like I have to be accountable to the unknown.
Whoa. Right.
And that's fucking scary.
Well, so if you think that's scary, listen to this. This is the other page she sent me. This is
Yeah,
called Earpiece from 1998. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Bunch of questions. One, are you listening now?
Oh
Two,
my,
are you listening to what you are now hearing? Three, are you hearing when you listen? Four, are you listening while you are hearing? Five, do you remember the last sound you heard before this question?
oh God.
Six, what will you hear in the near future? Seven, can you hear now and also listen to your memory of an old sound? Eight, what causes you to listen? Nine, do you hear yourself in your daily life? Do you
Whoa.
hear yourself? 10, do you have healthy ears? 11, if you could hear any sound you want, what would it be? 12, are you listening to sounds now or are you just hearing them? And 13, what sound is most meaningful to you?
Oh my God.
Right? I mean, like,
That,
seriously, right?
that's like black belt mindfulness.
It's really intense and frankly a little bit daunting. And I told Stacy as much in my follow up email to her. Like, Brr. Like, so I've been pondering listening versus hearing since the first time I heard sounds of silence.
Right, right. And so is there any I'm curious, what is the difference between hearing and listening?
Well, see, right. See, that's the question du jour, isn't it?
It sure is.
Uh-huh. Right. And I've been literally pondering that since the first time I heard Sounds of Silence. That lyric from the Sounds of Silence from Simon Garfunkel was people talking without speaking, people hearing without listening. Well, talking without speaking's easy because I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
To quote David Byrne, you're talking a lot, but you're not saying anything.
Right.
When I have nothing to say, my lips are sealed. Right. But people hearing and listening, like hearing without listening, like I kind of get that too. Like, I hear what you're saying, but I really don't care.
I think of the movie White Men Can't Jump, where Wesley Snipes is with Woody Harrelson. He's like, what do you say? You're listening to Jimi Hendrix, but you can't hear.
Oh, yeah, you can't because you're white.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
But
is
I
really
was
funny
like,
because Jimi Hendrix played to an almost exclusively white audience, but that's funny.
yeah, but that's fascinating. And
Right?
also, I'm here for the journey with you, and like because I was talking to my students because I gave them an assignment and a writing prompt around script analysis, but I basically said, you have to go through this play which is just dripping with imagery and all that, and you have to find all the images and then maybe two per page, pick out two moments that you would stage without any restriction. Like if you could do this in the Sphere in Vegas or you had $10 a budget, like it doesn't matter. Like what would this image be? Because we oftentimes, I know for creative folks, we oftentimes go through this gauntlet of editing before we even allow an idea to be put out there.
Oh, sure. You've already like made all these walls in this little box, and then you have to put the thing into the box that you made out of arbitrary, maybe even non-existent parameters.
And you have to follow if you created the rules and therefore you have to keep sticking to the rules as you go through, and it's like, well, why? Like, so that sort of creative freedom is a challenge.
It's really intense. It's really daunting.
Yeah, because this play, I'm like, well, I don't even, and I'm writing this proposal. Like, I'm curious about these few things. I'm curious about this location. I will probably need the time to put myself in those places to do those things, but I can't tell you what it's going to be. And I hope they get that. And it's like, also like, if they say no,
you have to go on the journey.
yeah. And it's like, also, I need to give myself permission to be a creative and not wait for somebody else. But that's a whole other podcast. But it's like,
That's definitely a whole other podcast.
But you have to sign up for, you have to give yourself permission. What did I say? You have to be accountable to the unknown. Like you have to be accountable to allowing the unknown to be there and like walk into the void or walk into the dark tunnel and find your way through. That's way more scary than, hey, Joel, we'd like you to write a comedy, or even like you need to create a pop song or you need to create a blues song, you need to write a bluegrass song. It's like that is a bumper on the bowling lane. But when you say, I'm not going to, no bumpers, I'm just at the end of this, I'm going to make a thing and I hope you guys are okay with it. All right. Not even that, but yeah.
Well, and that's the thing that I always, and what sounds like pointless noodling. Can you imagine being in the Grateful Dead and walking in on stage with literally no plan?
Oh my God.
No parameters. Not like we're going to play this rocker song to open things up, but like we're just going to start playing and see what happens. Well, I'm talking like specifically coming out of drums.
Yeah. Right.
Where at most you might have a sketch, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, they did have the advantage of having an audience that was open to that.
Yeah.
Kind of waiting to see what would happen. And maybe it wouldn't be great. And whatever, if all else fails, we can always go take a leak, That's not happening tonight. I'll see you guys later, you know. But I mean that idea of complete lack of form.
No reservations. It's like taking a trip with no reservations.
Sure, yeah, kind of, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I might wind up in San Francisco, but I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know where I'm day. I don't know where I'm going to
But
hang
even
out.
but even still, you probably have a car.
Right.
You
And
probably have a car.
the car is whatever instrument you're going to use, right? You can take
Mhm.
different cars, right? Like that. My I guess the one thing to hold on to in the unknown of writing something for performance, right? Like that it is going to be a thing that happens in a live scenario. Like I'm not writing a film script, I'm not writing a book, I'm not writing a novel, I'm not writing an epic poem, although it will be poetic. The point of this is to be a dramatic performance. So that's the thing to hold on to. But it is kind of that exercise of what am I here? What's coming through? And can I
Mhm.
get myself into a state where I can allow what's coming through to be put down?
Can you lay it down?
Can I lay it down? Well, it's like in meditation. I don't know. I think it was Ajahn Chah talks about like the if it's like meditation or the mind in meditation ought to be like a still pool in a forest. That if you can still yourself enough, you can observe all kinds of strange animals coming to drink at the pool
Mm.
and not disturb them and let them come and
Mm.
pull and leave,
Hmm.
you know? And your task is to calm yourself enough to observe all those things. So like in meditation, anger, lust, boredom, all of that stuff comes in and you can allow it to drink from the water and then leave. And
Mm.
it's a creative pursuit in music or anything else. Like, can I let that stuff through?
I'm not there yet.
I don't even know if I don't even, I mean,
I'm still
I,
trying to find the goddamn pool. I'm
I'm
just like
like,
stumbling through the forest, tripping on brambles, and
I'm sitting there thinking, I don't think I set my camp up well enough in order for the pool to happen.
that's
I don't, do I have enough graham crackers for the s'mores? Do I have enough bug spray? You know,
right. Is
you know,
this the right tent?
this isn't the right tent.
This
This
is not. This is not the
no,
right tent. And this
no.
chair, I don't know what the hell I was thinking.
I'm wearing my generic vest rather than my Patagonia vest. Nobody's going to think I'm cool enough.
No, if a man's wearing a Patagonia vest in the middle of a forest and nobody sees him wearing the Patagonia vest,
Is he really outside? Is he cool?
oh God,
Yeah. Does he deserve to be there? If he's not wearing the right
he does not deserve to be
comp,
there. Does
the right
not.
of
No.
man names, does he deserve to be there? But that is the sort of the conundrum within is like, what are they going to think? What are they going to think? What are
Oh,
I have
that
to write?
and see that's the thing that as I've dipped my toe into that world up at like Project in Omaha and this deep like fuck what like this is it's right like maybe nobody's even gonna be there,
Maybe nobody's going to be there.
but it doesn't matter. I mean, it kind
Doesn't
of
matter.
matters, but it's like whatever. This is my creative pursuit and like sticking to that vision.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
pretty like that. Oh, like this is actual art
Right.
because it's not commercial really on any level.
Hmm. That's great.
Because I come from like most of the things that I've traditionally enjoyed or whatever participated in have had a commercial aspect to them
Hmm.
out of necessity to
Yeah.
survive, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
there's that. But the space like Project in Omaha allows for art to happen with no commercial potential.
Hmm.
There's
Hmm.
no commercial potential in it. I bought Kyle Jessen's cassette tape just because I want to support him. You know,
Yeah.
he's a saxophone avant-garde free jazz player.
Hmm.
And he put out a thing on Bandcamp, and there's a cassette tape. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll buy that.
Right. Buy a unit of the thing to
I will
support.
buy it just as a token of my fuck. I love what you're doing, man. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But the concern or the worry about how and who is going to receive it is really, I don't know. It's like I guess in my scenario, I'm just thinking about my path here. If let's say I get an email tomorrow that says, "Yes, we will give you sabbatical to write this play." There is an understanding that I will present this to the community.
There is a capital U understanding.
Yeah, there's an understanding that you
Mhm.
will show this work, and it's
Mhm.
like that's vulnerable. And so,
Mhm.
do I write towards that, or do I write towards whatever is interesting to me? And I'm sure that the academic in me says write towards what you like, follow your own path. We're giving you the ability to do that. But there's also a part of me that's like, are they going to say, what a waste of our, this guy got a full
Oh,
salary for in a semester off. And, so there is that. I mean, that's America though.
you
Like,
you have to produce something that the college will say this was worth our dollars.
yeah.
Mhm.
And that, how does this benefit students?
Well,
Like,
I will say, as your friend and as somebody that's watched you produce shit for a long time now, that I have absolute faith in your ability to do that.
thank you. Thank
Dating
you.
back to Gabriel's horn,
Right. Yeah.
right? Like you can do that. You can maintain your artistic integrity, such as that is, and also produce something that will make the university feel like, you know what, we're really lucky to have this guy.
Mm,
Because
thank you.
that's really what it's about, too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not just that it's something that whatever is a feather in the university's cap, but the feather in the university's cap will be you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I needed that. I needed that because you're right. Like, I think this last show really sort of reminded me that when I work towards getting into a flow with things that I find interesting, then they are beneficial because I feel confident and comfortable in talking about that as a process
Mm-hmm.
versus this is a product that everybody can be entertained by. Like the process is more important than the product. And that's kind of that's a part of this is like I teach a playwriting class, but I've never really written a play. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I can have some real hardcore evidence of that. And also like just like with your si situation and mine, like getting to that point where you can really trust yourself and be okay and like I can do this. Like
Mm-hmm.
I am allowed. You have to constantly give yourself permission to do
Mm-hmm.
this, and try to drown out the noise or
Well,
listen to
the
hear the
no the noise is it's probably gonna suck.
probably gonna suck. This sucks. What a waste.
They're gonna think that you're a charlatan wannabe poser muggle.
Then you can just say you don't get it.
That's exactly right. That's the artist response. It's like,
You don't
well,
get it.
clearly you just don't get it. And then you've thrown the gauntlet.
Yep. You don't understand, and that's I feel sad for you.
You don't understand my genius, and I feel sad for you.
Yeah,
I pity you.
I pity you. I'm sorry that you need this.
And then cut to the clip of Tobias Funke in the shower crying.
Yeah, yeah. I'm never gonna I don't broadcast me crying in the shower with my jorts on.
You
What do you
should
need?
though.
That? That's for Kirsten, unfortunately. Sorry, babe.
Sorry, babe.
Sorry, babe. Oh God,
Yeah.
every time. There's always a time in any show I've ever directed where I come home and I'm like, this is trash.
This is
This is
garbage.
trash. And I had that
You're,
once and
what's that?
laughed at it this process, which was kind of an indicator of like you're okay. Like there was one time early on, this is going to be trash, and I
Hey,
was like,
Paul,
ah, laughed at it.
it's that thing as opposed to, I think it was in Friends where the director's like, you're all terrible actors. You remember that?
I don't.
Oh, whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Nobody watches Friends anymore anyway, for a good reason. But I, instead of taking that out, on your, oh, speaking of,
Hmm. What?
well, this is an abrupt tone shift,
Yeah.
but I have had a moment of clarity this last week brought to me by my workplace,
Uh-huh.
which is that I've been kind of an asshole at work.
Mm.
And it has caused some problems
Mm.
that I was pretty sure were other people's fault, weirdly.
It's amazing when that the more I think that it's other people's fault, the more I probably ought to look at me. So
Mhm.
I don't mean to make light of it, but
No. It's absolutely appropriate. But like, um, the Titanic kind of grazed the iceberg a little bit,
mm-hmm,
because of me,
mm-hmm,
and I was not. You know how it is when you can't, when you're in the middle of the storm, you don't see it.
totally,
Just trying to survive the storm,
totally.
throwing punches. Forrest
Yep.
Gump, you call this a storm,
Right.
Lieutenant Dan, right? That
Right.
thing. Well, I've been Lieutenant Dan. And
So, but to bring that movie back into the analogy, Lieutenant Dan was a disgruntled, hard ass, you know, resentful guy, and then he
mhm,
had that battle, and then he was at a lot of peace and ease. Like,
mhm.
are you at that tipping point? Like, what
Oh,
is?
I've come out on the other side of it. That's why I can talk about it.
Yeah. So, what have
Mm.
you from? What have you learned?
Well, I've learned that that's a great question. I mean, I'm not talking in a general way, but like um I was just really difficult to be around.
Mm,
And I had my reasons, you know what I'm saying?
sure.
But I allowed external forces to affect my me at work
Hmm.
and carrying around this dark cloud and really old behavior, old tapes,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
or oppressed Steve.
Yeah. Mm,
And and I had to make amends to my department,
mm,
which I did both collectively and individually. Like, I'm
mm,
really truly sorry. I'm embarrassed now that I've seen like how I was affecting people.
hmm.
And because I had an employee call me out
Yeah.
very directly and
Ooh.
in a way that frankly was a little inappropriate. But like, if I wanted to continue down the path of fuck all of you,
Yeah.
I would have just fired him for insubordination.
Right. Like you could have continued to fuck that chicken
I
and it
could
would,
have, yes, and it would have ended badly.
but that's the cool thing about the secret meetings we go to is that they
Yep.
teach us to like, okay,
Well,
take a break,
that's what, like,
look at this.
back to,
What do I need to own? Like what's mine?
and listen to the small quiet voice instead of the loud belligerent voice. And the small quiet voice was saying, Steve, you might have a part in this.
Yeah.
And I had to own that and really, and so it's just been kind of a lot this week.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
been kind of a lot. There's been a lot happening in old Duder's head. And
I don't I don't I I I don't want to ignore the breakthrough of like being interested in finding that childlike wonder in creation and that deep listening and also being able to hear things clearly that
Mhm.
people are saying about like, hey, you should probably look at this. Like there's a really beautiful example to the world of that. And I think that you being because I've had to do that. Like my first the first show I ever directed at Doan, was given Hamlet to direct. Like this big juggernaut. Like, and I fucking love that play. And I thought it was like, oh, I'm going to do all these great things. I'm going to show them. And it was about me. And it was like, I got to figure this.
Yes.
I was stressed out. And like, I had, like I was going to leave one particular career path and do this. And it was, money was tight and all of this shit was riding on it. And I was a
Hmm.
fucking prick, dude. I was a
Hmm.
total asshole. And I had to sit down with my entire cast and sort of let them take
You
my
know,
inventory.
I remember that. I remember that now. I remember you
These
doing that. I remember
fun
those
of
conversations.
18 to 22-year-olds taking my inventory, but I had to sit there and listen, man. And that was
Yep.
so hard. And like, so to do that, like, there was one student that was going to quit the show and said that I was erratic and unsafe. And then
Mm,
by the end of that semester, he nominated me to be his mentor of the year for his honor society.
that's awesome.
And that's not me, man. That's
No,
like
I understand.
program
Believe me,
shit.
I get it. I get it. I
So,
remember you going through that, and that's very much what I've gone through the last week and a half or so.
right. And
Hmm.
so you being able to do that, like kind of openly and vulnerably is is a cool thing that we're allowed to do in the public eye, and
Mhm.
that like not many people,
It's
like
just
most people will
and
double down on the shit.
really, I hadn't noticed that happening collectively in our society.
Right.
People unable to say, you know what, I was very wrong,
I was
and I'm
wrong.
and I'm really embarrassed about the things that I've supported over the last 8 years or so.
Right.
I haven't noticed that at all.
And what do you guys think I can do to make this better?
hmm
Like that's not
I've asked
we're
my staff
we
that.
live in that world in recovery, but the world does not
Yeah, 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 yeah.
work that way.
It does not. No. Mm-mm.
So it's alarming. It's good. I mean, hopefully do you feel like there's a sense of relief?
Oh man, I feel more at peace overall today as we're sitting here than I have in years.
Wow.
It's a journey, you know what I'm saying? Like there's,
Sure.
it's the bar graph goes up and down, and but this is one of those moments where I feel actual grace. I feel actual hope for my future. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm in better equipped to human to lead
Yeah.
um than I have been in just years ever maybe.
Wow.
So yeah, so there's a lot of um hope in that, I guess. And also responsibility now, which I loathe. Like, fuck, now I have to honor that. This I've been given this grace, now I have to honor it.
But I think I know you well enough to know that the responsibility that you learn through that process is way more effective and useful than you feeling like somebody else is telling you what your responsibility is. I think
Oh,
there's a
it
version
could
of you that recoils from that, even if it's right. But
oh
if you're a part of that solution, it's going to
yeah.
go fucking
Well,
amazingly well.
that's what, our old and mutual friend Matt Kay used to tell me, like, you have to see it for yourself. I can't tell you.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah,
can't tell you. You have to see it. So I'm
yeah,
going to let you just run into the wall and over the cliff. And when you're laying at the bottom, then we can talk.
yeah,
hmm
yeah.
Hopefully you
Wow.
don't die,
Yeah, right.
because that would make me sad and I want to have that conversation. But, you know,
Yeah, and the true growth is like signing up for the growth, right? Like the true thing is like I'm gonna do this, and I know it's gonna be hard, but I'm gonna participate in my own betterment.
well, just, and I always think about you as soon as I think about this, but it's the thing of Luke Skywalker staring into the thing in Empire. Is it Empire or Jedi? We're like, I'm not afraid. And Yoda says, you will be.
You will be.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that bravado,
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
no, kid.
Hmm.
You have no idea what you're about to walk into.
Hmm.
And you're going to walk into yourself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're gonna confront the darkest part of yourself in the
Mhm.
cave on
Mhm.
Kuba. You gotta go there though.
You
We all gotta go to
gotta go to Dagobah.
we are all some way going to Dagobah.
There's a song in there, Jack. There's
Well,
your
no,
song.
it's the I'm riffing off the soul coughing. We are all in some way or another going to Reseda to
Oh, that's
die.
right. We're going to Reseda. That was so great. God, they were great.
Soul coughing. We got to see soul coughing, man.
They were so good.
They are so good.
And I went back and watched some old videos of them in like 94 to 97. And
Yeah,
Mr. Doty's come a long ways.
he sure has.
He sure has. He's very much a different person. Same guy, but
He's way more okay with being who he is up there.
yes,
You know,
yes.
those old 90 things, it's like no wonder he was smoking heroin after every show. Like
Yeah, because he was not okay.
he was not well up there.
Nope, not comfortable in his dotiness.
Terrified.
Terrified, yep. And I can see how if his bandmates were all older than he was, that like they were like, oh boy.
Yeah, and I really hope there's some story there.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not supposed to
Maybe we'll
know.
never know. But I could
But
like I did not sense any Perry Farrell, Dave Navarro level animosity on that
oh,
stage.
No, no, I think
I
that's what.
sensed a group of guys that had come to had at least reached a consensus.
Yes, and that like maybe, and from one alcoholic addict to another, maybe his thoughts about what they thought of him might not have been accurate.
Right. Yeah, they might not have been true at all. He could have made all of that up.
Right. He was a drug-addled
Kid.
kid.
Mm-hmm.
And their critique of his musicianship or ideas.
Might have just been constructive criticism.
Exactly.
Maybe not delivered super skillfully, but still not malicious in any way.
Yeah, when somebody calls you out and you're not ready to hear it, it sure feels like abuse. So how dare you?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Using me.
All I know is that, I've seen him solo with you, just him and a guitar, and I've seen him with another band playing essentially the same material, but with the different musicians.
Right.
And then the actual deal. And the whole thing was just a big dance party. It was great. It was surreal and kind of disturbing and intentionally but also a really good time. Like it was that they were locked in. It sounded fresh. It was energetic. I loved the drummer and the bass player.
That one too. Oh, so good.
They're so good. And like, yeah. So I'm so glad
their pocket, like their ability to be a programmable drum bass machine together in pocket as live human beings with an upright bass and a pretty pared down trap kit.
Yeah,
dude.
And solid.
And just there were times where Mike would just stand there, arms wide open, with a shit-eating grin on his face. Like, I'm playing Soul Coughing to a sold-out audience at the Boulder Theater in 2024.
Yeah, they sold out the Riv a couple nights ago in Chicago,
and they're gonna play their first show in New York soonish, like this week. Their first show.
They're prepared.
30 years, 35 years.
They are prepared. They do not need to be nervous for that show.
No, dude.
They're gonna go in and blow the roof off the dump. It's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah.
I like that's one of those concerts where, I mean, driving to Boulder and back in 2 days, that's a lot.
Yeah, right.
Totally worth it. It was totally worth it. Yeah.
Yep. If it were any other band after I got done with a show, I might have said, yeah, I don't know if I'm in. But it was totally worth it.
That was totally worth it. Mad props to Mike Doty and Soul Coughing. That was such a good time.
Yeah. Definitely take a listen. If you've never experienced Soul Coughing, definitely go check out
Get on YouTube and look up their latest tour. There's tons of video. It's all great.
Yeah, they're doing great.
They're doing great.
I'm glad I got to experience that with you.
I'm glad that I went.
Yeah, glad we went. And the Jersey Mike's afterwards was totally the right call.
It was the right call. Thanks, Jack.
Shout out to the Drury Inn. Their business center is really nice, and
they're a great business center.
And they're conveniently in a short drivable distance to a Jersey Mike's. I drove a block to the Jersey.
Not even.
We had a couple Jersey Mike subs after the show.
We had some really nice vegan food before the show.
Yeah, Boulder. This restaurant Leaf was amazing.
Yeah, it was great. Love Leaf, right on Pearl Street.
Yep.
Delicious. And it wasn't. It was precious, but it was delicious, and the price was right. Like, it wasn't obscenely expensive.
No, it was
totally reasonable.
Totally reasonable.
Yeah.
Leaf
in Boulder, totally reasonable.
Yeah. That's their tagline. It's food. It's Chili's. It's food.
Barely.
Chili's. When you're here, you eat.
Okay, great.
The 5% nation of Chili's buffet. The 5% nation of nipple clamps. But the lyrics all time is,
you grab the ankles.
You get the ankles and I'll get the wrist. Normalize the, what is it? Normalize the glee when you're banging on Freon, Paleolithic Eon, put the fake goatee on.
That's a deep dive, man.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
All right. Well, I gotta go to Costco, man.
Dude, go to Costco. I'll talk to you later.
I've got an appointment at Costco.
Get your tires on, bro.
I'd fucking put the
Do you,
donut
do
on.
you do you eat at Costco, bro?
I might eat at Costco today.
You should. Oh, yeah. Well, never mind. I was gonna say they have the chicken Caesar salads back, but
I don't eat chickens, man.
I know they need to get that one, the fake, the salad they had before COVID with the fake protein shit on it. The
What the
Southwest.
fuck is that?
I don't know, but that would be nice if they would do that because that was the bomb.
Well, what I'll have to do is get a slice of cheese pizza and put a couple cookies inside of it and roll it up and eat it.
See, there you go, my man.
Dip it in my Pepsi.
That is.
Even this.
All right. Let's go. Later.
All right. Bye.
The woman was a dream I had, though rather hard to keep. For when my eyes were watching hers, they closed, and I was still asleep. And when my hand was holding hers, she whispered words and I awoke, faintly bouncing round the room, the echo of whomever spoke. And I awoke, faintly bouncing round the room, the echo of whomever spoke. The place I sought was far beneath the surface of the sea. My sight was poor, but I was sure the sirens sang this song for me. They dance above me as I sink. I see them through a crystal haze and hear their sweet sound bouncing round the never-ending choral maze. Crystal haze and hear them bouncing round the room, the never-ending choral maze. Then before and now once more I'm bouncing round the room. Once again I'm bouncing round the room. Once again I'm bouncing round the room. Down there, once again I'm bouncing round the room. That time then, once again I'm bouncing round the room. That time then, once again I'm bouncing round the room. That time then, once again I'm bouncing round the room. That time then, once again that time then, once again I'm bouncing round the room. That time then, once again I'm bouncing round the room. That time then, once again I'm bouncing round the room.
Don't forget, toot your hooter.